What do they want in this situation where they would want to start taking down aircraft? What do you know from your experience in the FBI that this deep state, what do they want?
The end goal is, and this is a long-term psychological operation, as well as physical operation as well. The long-term goal is ultimately to put together this grand operation called fake alien invasion. Now, the only fake part about it is going to be that the alien visitors are involved with this. They're not at all. Everything else is going to be real. The destruction that they bring to our cities is going to be real.
Hello friends, this is the video that I spoke to you about, that we were gonna do a reaction to this video, and I got some information coming from here that, first of all, I cannot say for certain if these things are true. Okay, what I'm simply saying, lay out the facts, let's consider it, pray about it. I don't like to dismiss stuff that I may not like, okay, because sometimes the truth is in there. And I've learned a hard lesson in 2019, okay? I've learned a hard lesson. This is why I'm very careful styling things conspiracy theory, because sometimes a few months afterwards, these supposed conspiracy theory turned out to be the truth, right? You know how that goes.
Event, a Pearl Harbor style event, in order to be enacted. So this isn't, again, conspiracy. It's in their freaking documents.
Right.
I know there are people out there who say, that's just conspiracy theories. You know, as we say on this show, conspiracy theories are just 6 month spoiler alerts. And we've seen that repeatedly now. So,
okay, friends, before we go into this whole discussion, we're going to, take some segments from it. Yes, the drones have been banned in New Jersey now. Any drones whatsoever. Does that mean these drones are not flying anyway? Actually, they are. I have evidence that they flying these drones anyway. About a week ago, the elected president, Donald Trump, answered the question by saying the government might as well come out and speak about what's going on here and stop covering it up. And this is what he said when he was asked about these drones.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports?
The government knows what is happening. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people. And they should, because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Well, the government actually responded to that. They eventually came out with an official note and reading directly from the White House. And let me show you what they had to say.
We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said,
That's it.
Pretty much, Kirby didn't really tell us anything. The White House pretty much provided nothing. These are legal, man-operated drones, and it's exceptionally fine the way they are. And again, here he is again on Fox News repeating the same claim. And he's like, really? Is that what you want us to believe at this time?
You hear all of these officials. You've heard a lot of concern, a lot of coverage. Where are you tonight on this?
as we look at the information we've got, Brett, and we've now examined some 5,000 different sightings, we've added detection capabilities, additional observers. As you and I stand here today, to date, our assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activity. Some of it's manned, some of it's unmanned. We absolutely acknowledge that a lot of these are probably drones, but they're flying legally, and it is legal to fly drones in non-restricted airspace as long as you're registered with the FAA. And there's thousands and thousands of these kinds of flights every single day. I think there's more than 1 million drones that are registered with the FAA just in the United States alone.
Well, I hope you feel much better now that the White House has spoken. It's just crazy to me.
The federal government that's there right now has no excuse for not treating them like weapons. So I think everyone should start calling them LSDs as well. That might help the situation somewhat. So, like I said, I don't think New Jersey is going to be able to keep them out of the airspace because of their qualities, their abilities. We've had jets try to track them down. They have the ability to put out electromagnetic pulse to deactivate any drones or even airplanes that go against them. They have the ability to disappear at 3,000 miles an hour. It's incredible the abilities that these things have.
All right, what he's about to say next here is somewhat troubling. The United States pretty much has a stand-down order to allow these drones to fly, but they're not the ones operating it. He's saying there's a deep state, there's something darker, there is like an administrative state that are carrying out these drones, and it is very intentional. It is also political. It is also for the purpose of creating fear, right? So take a listen.
And these are deep state program. I mean, is it your contention that these are an off-the-books deep state program of advanced aerospace technology that the United States government has and is deploying, or
no?
So no,
it's not. It's not the United States at all. The United States, the Biden administration, is obeying the people who are sending these drones. They are, by standing down our forces. They had to actively tell the military to stand down, no matter what they see in the skies, and not shoot at these things. So the United States is implicated in this, of course, but it's not them as the source of the drones or the plasmas and the orbs that are accompanying these drones either. So there's just a tremendous amount is involved in this.
That's very disturbing if that is the case. You know, I put nothing past darkness, the kingdom of darkness anymore at this point. You know, if you understand the theme of the great controversy and the enemy's plans to control and to get worshipped, to fulfill Revelation chapter 17 and also Revelation 13, 15 for the mark of the beast to be enforced, you can understand the enemy is doing anything in his power to make sure these things come true. What he's about to do now, he's going to speak about a number of predictions. We're going to listen to some of these predictions and engage with them as well. These predictions are certain people that we've already highlighted here in the channel. We spoke about some of these men who came out and spoke. So we're going to hear some of that and some of the things that he is saying, and also consider some of the theme in that. Let's take a listen.
I really wanted to start by telling you, Clayton, all the prophecies and predictions that have led us to this point right now, because the people have to be educated on what is going on exactly, so that they can know how to respond. They can believe also. So I wanted to tell you guys, first of all, that we had a prediction from Cliff High, and it's called the alien invasion prediction. And it went like this. I'm sure your audience knows about this, little bits here and there, but I want to tell them
our audience is smart. Yeah,
right.
Our audience is smart. They, like, as you mentioned earlier, they are awakened. I would say maybe 80% of our audience is awake, and so
exactly.
To the 20% of you that maybe are still fighting this, okay, buckle up.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Well, the first prediction was from Cliff High. It's called the alien invasion prediction. In 2009, he used his WebBot software to predict that a president, Donald Trump, would eventually have an interview with Joe Rogan, and that this would occur as a starting point for a countdown when it did occur, and it did occur. And at the time he made this prediction, Joe Rogan was not even very famous at that time, and President
What
Trump.
year was this again?
This was in 2009. 2009. So this was President Trump was not even anywhere near office at that time. So it's an extraordinary prediction because it was in 2009, and he said that the moment that interview happened, and how he knew that interview would be important, nobody knows. But through the WebBot software is how he finds these things out. And he found out that in December, and he said 39 days after the trigger event, which was the interview, there would be on December 3rd, there would be UFO wars in the sky. There would be UFOs and wars in the sky. Now, he does not predict events. He predicts what people will be saying about the events. And
So
that was
chatter, sort of online forums and chatter, and that's how his WebBot software was working.
Yes, and it crawls all these things, and it sucks up the predictions from the language that people use, because his contention is that people are all intuitive, much more than they know, and they're already saying what's going to happen in the future without even knowing it. And it worked. It worked because he had 39 days after that interview was December 3rd, just a little while ago. So he missed it by like a couple of weeks. I don't think anybody has any qualms with that. But
Right.
But it still started shortly after December 3rd, 2024. So that was an extraordinary prediction. And that's just the first one that relates to this. Now, also, I wanted to say to you guys that in the Bible, in Thessalonians, we have a prediction, an unfulfilled prophecy that says that God shall send upon them a strong delusion so that they should believe a lie. And we had no less a personage than the great Chuck Missler, who is one of the greatest Christian scholars who ever lived. And he always said that passage had to do with a staged alien event. So that was his.
Wow. Now, whether it is staged by men, I've spoken about this before, right? But I spoke about it from the context of the last act in the drama. So alien invasion, but so much more than aliens, but they are more demonic manifestations. So could this be a combination of both what the Kingdom of Darkness is doing and then some men might be doing? That's a conversation to be had. But that's an interesting side note. But I think it's a little bit deeper than that. It's a little bit darker than that. Let's keep listening, though.
Feeling, and I always followed him.
Do you think that that's what this is right now? This is this that we're seeing. Is it the large scale staged alien event? I mean, we have people all over the country seeing these things. Videos being shared every night that these are not airplanes, and some are airplanes, right?
Right.
But some are. You're seeing these massive drones that are accelerating at speeds we don't have anything that can do that. Physics, wise, it would tear apart a human being if they were inside a craft like that. Do you believe that this is the event?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, that goes into the next prediction that I wanted to talk to people about, which is the Wernher von Braun, who was the head of NASA. He was the head of NASA. I think he was the first one way back in the 40s. But when he in the 1970s, he died in 1977. But in the 1970s, he predicted that the world elites, the cabal, they would need to have several worldwide conflicts to control the nations. He said the first one. That he wanted to put into this prediction was the fight communism against the free world, communism against the free world, and that would be a worldwide conflict. He was talking about the Cold War that came later. Then he also said there would also be, then when that peters out, there would be a war between the Islamic world and the Western world, and that came true in the war on terrorism. Okay, but then he said his prediction that is called the last card prediction. It used to be called the last Trump card, but he said that the world powers, the cabal, the Illuminati who control all the nations, he said their last card, when their backs are up against the wall and they don't know what else to do, would be a staged alien invasion.
Yep.
That's
Let
how
me
he
show you
put
which
it.
video he is making reference to. Let me play that video for you.
The strategy that Veron Brown taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in '74, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. We were told that they had killer satellites. We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now, at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids, we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over, during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie. He didn't mention a timeline, but he said that it was going to be speeding up faster than anybody could possibly imagine. That the effort to put weapons in space was not only based on a lie, but would accelerate past the point of people even understanding it until it was already up there and too late.
All of it is a lie. Wow. That's just crazy. So that's the video he's speaking about, man. All right, let's listen to a little bit more of this.
In 1970s, he told his protege, Carol Rawson, that this would occur. And it was said it would be a fake UFO threat from outer space. He said it would be then a buildup of military forces, what do you call this? The global weapons complex that we have, military-industrial complex that we have, would take this wonderful excuse to build up their weaponry all over the world, and then the staged alien false flag event would occur, and that's what he predicted. And he said this would be used to unify the entire world behind the elites, behind the cabal that's working on them.
This part of the video is the idea and the goal behind it, right? Some people want a one world government. That's not even something you're making up anymore, right? It's a real thing. We all know about it. As a matter of fact, when you read the Bible in Revelation chapter 13, all the world wander after the beast. That's a one world government. That's a one world religious systems as well. So that's just what it is. And he's going to highlight that as well. Let's take a listen.
Behind the elites, behind the cabal that's working on this. And that's,
well, we know that they want a one world government, so this is not a conspiracy theory at all. Just look at the documents, the 2030 agenda. Look at the World Economic Forum's documents. This is not a conspiracy theory. They put it in their own documents, and they outline in their own documents that it needs a massive event, a Pearl Harbor style event, in order to be enacted. So this isn't, again, conspiracy. It's in their freaking documents.
Right.
I know there are people out there who say, that's just conspiracy theories. You know, as we say on this show, conspiracy theories are just 6-month spoiler alerts. And we've seen that repeatedly now. So as a mass casualty event, I want to kind of circle back to something you said at the beginning. Where does that come into play? Is it being used as sort of a catalyst? Who is going to carry out a mass casualty event in your estimation? What do you think that will look like?
Well, it could be what we call a slow kill situation, a slow kill, which really means it would be mass casualty events stretched out over long periods of time.
Now, I don't want you to miss what he just said here. A mass casualty event that will prolong over a period of time. Because if it happens instantly, we're going to call that a genocide, and people will have a reaction that will stymie the plan. Now, whether or not this is true, I'm not necessarily sure, but I'm just letting you know this is what he's saying. He's going to make a comparison to Pestilence 19. You guys know what I mean, the little c. Listen carefully.
I'm trying to be careful how I say things. As we found out during the last pandemic, they found out that if you kill people slowly in large scales, then for the most part, people don't notice it. They don't notice it, and they have many industries helping them, like the medical industry and others, helping them to put up excuses that, oh no, this isn't because of this particular purpose, it's because of something else. So they learned all of this. So for that reason, this mass casualty event that I'm talking about may not be an all-at-once type event that will be super dramatic so that everyone will be able to say, hey, wait, look at that, what happened? What if it's a slow kill situation where they use what we call dirty radiation type bombs to slowly spread this radiation.
Well, friends, that's something to think about. That's a mouthful. But I'm going to fast forward now because he's going to speak about what people should be doing. And if you ever come across one of these drones, how you should behave. And he's also highlighting the idea. They're not just drones. Some of them are UFOs. Some of them are, and you and I both know these are alien manifestations, but they're mixing it. There's a mixture happening here. And it's creating confusion. It's creating fear. And where there's fear, government comes to help. Power is handed over. People lose more of their freedom, more of their privacy. Tends to be the thing, okay? So he's going to now share what are some things we should be doing if you ever come across one of these drones. Take a listen.
What your question was, what are the remedies and measures we can go to right now? And I'll tell you. Number one, stay away, because we're right now in life-saving mode. We're just trying to save as many people as we can. Number one, stay away from these LSDs, the large super weapon drones. No shooting at them, because you could release radiological materials if you shoot at them. It's possible. That's why they're very concerned about that. Stay away from them. I have a lot of people who are now observing the drones with military night vision hardware, and that's fine because they see a lot of them and they're going nuts in the air, but they're very far away. If these LSDs come over your house, though, get away. Get away from them, because we're going to be seeing people. We already have people who have symptoms of radiation sickness who have observed. Yes, they're out there. It's just anecdotal, but they are out there. And they have said they have symptoms of radiation type sickness, and not the severe ones, but they have the mild ones. And so that is happening. And so stay away from the LSDs. Number one. Number two, also stay away from the plasmas and orbs, because they are also man-made, and they could be making people disappear sometime soon. Also, the plasmas and orbs appear to have shape-shifting abilities too, so that they can change into it looks like fixed wing aircraft. It looks like they can change into UAP type vehicles as well. So just be aware of all that too. Also, number three, I would probably skip the inauguration at Washington, D.C. of Donald Trump, even if the tickets are free. I got a lot of people telling me, hey, the tickets are free. We're going to. No,
Yeah.
don't go.
No,
Just
I
don't
know.
go.
I've been invited as well. I'm like, well, yeah, it's kind of terrifying. I mean, I'd love to be there. I'd love to see it, but
no, don't do it.
Yeah.
And
don't give in to.
yeah. And number 4, of course, don't listen to anything the U.S. government tells you when they start telling you shelter in place. We have lockdowns now. Wear that astronaut suit. It's for your own good instead of just a mask. Just don't listen to anything the government says right now. And we have to keep listening to Donald Trump to see what he says. He's being very, very limited on this. He's very limited. I mean, so far, he's only said like 2 sentences about this. And it was just basically to basically command the Biden administration to say something to the people, because he said, you guys know what these things are. You're refusing to tell anybody. You have to say something. And they did. That's when they came out with that statement.
Yeah.
From what's his face.
That nothing burger, John Kirby's nothing burger statement. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I think we should do, Clayton. Yeah. And I think you should not go to the inauguration. I'm sorry. Just don't do it. I honestly don't think Donald Trump is going to the inauguration either. I think he's going to have an alternate site set up and ready, and he's going to do whatever he has to do there instead.
Well, friends, there you have it. It's a lot to digest. It's a lot to work with. Tell you what, reading my Bible, this one thing I know. I can't say everything here is true. I can't approve it. I can't deny it. It takes time to confirm some of these factors. But one thing we know, I'll put nothing past the kingdom of darkness anymore. Nothing. We want to live in a world where there's peace and safety. We can have the assurance everything's going to be okay. But the Bible tells us when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction is coming. The Bible does speak about a strong delusion. The Bible tells us that the enemy has come to steal, kill, and destroy. John 10:10. And also Revelation 12:17 tells us that Satan knows that he has but a short wrath. He has but a short time, so therefore his wrath, he is furious to see as many he could take down as possible. The Bible speaks of him as a roaring lion seeking whom may devour. There was this hunger for worship as well. We are told when he met Christ in the wilderness of temptation, all these things will I give you if that will bow down and worship me. Revelation also speaks about how the enemy is going to work miracles. By the means of these miracles, he has the power to deceive the world. And we are told these things will bring about false worship. Friends, I'm still processing this. There's a lot here to work with. Some things I agree, disagree with. He made a comment about astronaut suit, and I will say you need to watch this interview so you can get the context of what he's saying. Pretty much what he said is they looking to somewhat do another shutdown, similar to that of the little C word. They trying to do one of those again. These are the allegations. These are the statements. We have to wrestle with these things. I would like to know how much of this do you believe? How much of the thing you think is true? Do you believe 20%? 70%, 80% of these men's word? I think for him to come out and say the things that he is saying, I give him courage for saying it, but they are yet to be proven to be true. And therefore, we have to test everything by the word of God and wait as things are being confirmed by the circumstances and the events that are yet to take place. Anyway, much more could be said. Share your thought and perspective with me. I would like to hear from you. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.